first CEO I'm talking about, it's not in sequence. These events have occurred at different parts of the time. This is the case of a director of finance of a company who became director of finance at a very young age. I think he was at the time he went through 360, he was something like 36, 37 years. This was about a decade and a half ago. In those days, to become director of finance at 37, 38 years is very, very unusual. He is considered to be functionally excellent, very good CH, chartered accountant in background. Uh, and every 2 years he got promoted in his particular company, and considered by the chairman as the person who contributed a lot to the top line and bottom line of the company. Interpersonally competent, very sincere, and he worked, like the other day I heard somebody saying, I work 10 days a week. So he's one of those who probably would have worked 10 days a week. Uh, that means I think he was all the time at his desk. But the only unfortunate thing with this particular person was that nobody liked working with him. His leadership style was considered to be critical. He is so meticulous, no mistake will escape his attention. And when we found any mistake, he would lose his cool and shout at people and things like that. So as a result, I think the CHRO had a lot of difficulty. Every time he posted people, people were leaving his department. So once he suggested to this director of finance, sir, why don't you, there is something like this feedback from known people. Those days, I think we just began to use the term 360 feedback. Sir, you are such a efficient and effective person. If only you can get some feedback, I think it will make you more effective. Apparently, the director of finance shouted back at the CHRO and told him, in the last 2 years, how many people did you post in my department? And when he replied some number, he said, how many of them are still here? So there is a good attrition. If you're posting people and they are leaving, then you look at my record. Do you think I should go through 360 or you should go through 360? The CHRO didn't know what to do with that, but somehow I think he got back to me. We worked out some kind of a mechanism. And finally, when the CHRO convinced him, the director of finance attended a program not meant for his company, but an open program which we were doing at the time. And he came for the program and got the feedback. Normally, when we give feedback, we give the feedback only on the second day. First day, we spend explaining the tools we have used. For example, we use a tool in which we talk of various activities, then a tool on leadership styles and how much you delegate and some of the qualities. When he received his feedback, he saw a few positive things, but he didn't pay attention to those positive things like you're very sincere, hardworking, you are excellent functionally, etc., etc. He forgot all of them and went on to the focus his attention on the negative one. He said that, look, it looks that people don't like working with me. They call me short tempered. They say that I am not at all, I'm too formal and so on. And these are the kind of people HR is posting in my department. What else can we expect from these people? That's the kind of a thing that he, but this was on the second day. But by the time of third day, at the end of the day, as the program was closing, he came to me and he said, Professor Rao, I've interacted with some 23 others in this batch last 3 days. Sir, to tell you frankly, some of them are nowhere near the kind of knowledge I have and the kind of understanding I have about business. But when I look at the kind of 360 feedback, as a part of the program, they shared with each other because they were all strangers to each other, their feedback. So the director of finance told me, if I look at the feedback they got, they all managed great feedback. I mean, this is the term that he used. They managed good feedback. So, Professor, I started wondering somewhere if I am not doing enough to get people to think positively about all the good things that I am doing. That's all. That's the only comment which left me some hope. And 6 months later, this company invited me to visit their campus and do 360 for the entire top team. And then they gave a party and said that we don't know what magic we have done. This is a change in director of finance we have. I asked them, what is the kind of change that you find? They said, most important thing we find in him, he smiles. He was not even smiling earlier. He smiles. Not only that, nowadays, when we wish him in the morning, he stops for a while, wishes us back, and sometimes even has a cup of tea. So he has become quite informal, and I think we are beginning to enjoy working with him. That is why we wanted other people also to be exposed. Of course, in a lighter way, I did ask them one thing: is there anything that you have seen him not change? They said yes. One thing he still continues to do, that is throwing papers at us. Sometimes he calls us and offers us a cup of tea, has a chat, but when he gets angry, I think along with tea, he also throws papers. I think the lesson that I drew from this is it only needs some kind of a feedback, and people get the feedback at the right time. I think they can bring phenomenal amount of change in their own behavior. So some effective people are not sure of some of the weak points they have. They are just waiting to be told of weakness. That is what I've said. Hearing the unheard. If you create a situation where they can hear what they have not heard before, even if at some point of time it is uncomfortable for them, I think they will bring quite a lot of change for the benefit of the organization.